Good morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome to today's class. Today is 30 March 2021. Um, so I think we start with a lecture for the chapter 3. Um, if you look at my video, short video before, um, we did cover on the chapter 1 and chapter 2, um, but not all uh, slide explained in the video. So I hope that can you can download the notes and also reference books, ebook, and try your best to study by yourself. Try to understand from the notes and also from the reference books. Okay. So let me share what we covered um, on chapter 1 and chapter 2. Let's see. Um, Let me open the file multimedia. Okay. Uh, you can go to the column and get the notes for chapter 1, chapter 2. So for today's class, I'm going to cover on uh, chapter 3. Okay, let me share with you what is in the chapter 3. There are 86 slides. So this is chapter 3. Okay. Requirement modeling, design concept, architectural design, user interface design, web and mobile application design for IoT applications. So this is the subtopics that covered in the chapter 3. First is a requirement modeling. Again, you can get this reference books, Software Engineering, a Practitioner's Approach by Roger Pressman and Bruce R. Maxim. This chapter, particularly taking from chapter 9 and chapter 11, requirements modeling scenario based method, requirements modeling behavior patterns and web mobile application. So you can get this reference book, ebook. Try to find ebook. So in order to develop any system, multimedia system, first we have to do analysis on the requirement of the system. So in the requirement analysis, there are 3 parts where you need to look into, which is a system description, analysis model, and design model. So the first one, why we need requirement analysis before we develop a system, multimedia system, because to specify operational characteristics, to indicate applications interface, and then to establish constraints. So these are the requirement why we need the requirement analysis in order to develop a multimedia system. So this is the element of requirement analysis. Scenario based model, use case activity diagram, swim lane diagram, class model, class diagram, collaboration diagram, behavioral model, state diagrams, sequence diagram, flow model, DFD data model. So this is the application requirement. So what is the flow model, DFD data models? The flow model is the data that flow into or flow out of the app of the application and transformed by processing element. So that is the flow oriented model. So create data flow diagram first, DFD. So data flow diagram, there are a few levels. So level 0, general bubble, level 1, refinement, until we further the refinement up to the level n. Flow oriented modeling, creating data flow diagram DFD. So look at this example. The surveillance system enabled to mm, okay. From this example, identify primary input and output. So what is the example? The surveillance system enable the homeowner to configure the security system, monitors all sensors and interacts with the homeowner through the internet. Each sensor is assigned a number and type. A master password is used to arming and disarming the system, and telephone numbers are input for dialing when a sensor event occurs. When a sensor event is recognized, the software invokes an audible alarm attached to the system. After a delay time that is specified by the homeowner during system configuration, the software dials a telephone number of a monitoring service, provides information about the location, reporting the nature of the event that has been detected. The telephone number will be redialed every 20 seconds until telephone connection is obtained. The homeowner receives security information via an internet browser or mobile application interface. The interface displays prompting message and system status information. So, from this example or from this system, surveillance system, we can identify the primary input and output for creating data flow diagram, DFD. So, from this example, what is the input? What is the output? So this is the input signal that uh, give signal to the system. Okay. What is the output? Audible alarm, dials a telephone number, display prompting message, and system status. What is the input? Monitors all sensors, interact with the homeowner. So in the development of data flow diagram, we have to identify the um, we have to identify the input and output. So level 0, overall input and output, overall input function. So we have a system, surveillance system. So the overall input function for the level 0, application interface, sensors, user commands and data, sensor status that give input to the surveillance system. So the output display information, give alarm, connect to the telephone line. So this is all the level 0 DFD overall input function. Next, okay, for the DFD, isolate candidate process, external entities boxes, data objects arrows, data stores double lines. Okay, from the example, we can identify the next step of DFD, which is isolate external data object and data stores. Okay, so from this example, we before we identify the input. So from the input, we refine the process, which is, for example, interact with the homeowner. We have to configure the security system. We need to have a master password, and we also able to arming and disarming the surveillance system. Okay. So what is the configure process of configuring the security system? Input data object, we configure request, output data object, configuration of data, and data stores configuration of information. For the master password, the input data is password, output data is the valid ID, data stores, we store the password to the storage. Arming and disarming, start stop for the input data object, and output data object activate or deactivate a message. Level 1 for the detailed surveillance system function. Okay, user commands and data. So this is the uh, detailed surveillance system. Okay, interact with users, need a password, start stop, activate deactivate system, configure request, configure system. And finally, this is the interfacing to the user, display information, alarm type, number, telephone terms connected to the telephone line. So this is the level 1 data surveillance system function. So next is a data. Uh, we know that the input is monitors all sensors, interact with homeowner. So we refine the process. Okay. A number and type. Each sensor is assigned a number and type. Okay. Event is recognized from monitor all sensors. We dial the telephone number and also audible alarm if sensor detect any um, any movement. So this is about the data. So all this will give input to the monitors to the sensor. So this is all about data. Okay. We are still at the creating data flow diagram DFD. So process sensor event is recognized. So input data sensor ID type. So which sensor detect any movement. output data object, sensor ID, type, location, alarm, data, phone number. So generate alarm signal. So input data is alarm. So dial a telephone number, phone number, delay, time. So level 2, detail monitor sensors function. Okay. So we have next level after the level 1 is level 2. So we detail monitor sensor. So assess against a setup. So we read sensor, sensor ID type, and then process process the sensor ID type to know which location of the sensor, then make decision to connect to the phone, alarm, and display. Okay, so that is the flow models, data DFD data models. Next is a scenario based model, use case activity diagram, swim lane diagram. So this is the scenario based modeling. Before flow model, now is a scenario based modeling. So what is the scenario based modeling? First, developing using use case, developing activity diagram, swim lane diagram. So let's have a look at these three element in the scenario based modeling. One is developing use case. What is a use case? Scenario that describe a threat of usage for a system. So what to write? The main function, the information that will be acquired or produce or change will be acquired, produce or change. Information about changes in the external environment, desired information from the system, information about unexpected change. Okay, so that is the developing using case. We will look at the example later. So design a one home surveillance system that can allow the homeowner to access the camera surveillance via the internet. The system also allow the homeowner to selective record camera output and for replay camera output. Besides that, the user can pan and zoom the camera view, request thumbnails from all cameras installed in the house. Finally, if intruder detected in the house, a real-time notification will be sent to homeowner mobile phone. So this is the example of multimedia development, developing use case. So draw use case diagram. So this is homeowner, home surveillance system. Homeowner access a camera surveillance via the internet. Configure parameter, intruder alert setup. So this is all goes to the camera. So the case access camera surveillance via the internet, display camera views ACS DCV. Actor is homeowner. Okay. I can use the app to log on to surveillance system. So log on is a step for developing use case. I enter my user ID, 2 levels password, access to all functionality. I select surveillance from the major function. I select pick a camera. Floor plan of the house is displayed. Select camera that I'm interested. Select view 1 frame per second view and viewing window. So this is the use case. 1, 2, 3 until 11. Hmm? Homeowner log on, homeowner enter ID, homeowner enter two password until the end. Output within the viewing window at 1 frame per second. Next is a developing activity diagram. Okay, from the case that we identified just now, we develop the activity diagram by case. Case 1, case 2, case 3. And then you have the loop, you have a decision block. Okay. So this is the detail of diagram from the 11 step that we identified before. So we can sketch the flowchart of the developing of the activity. So first enter ID and password. Then there is a decision here, valid password or not. If not, then go back to the first screen. If okay, select merge function, select surveillance, real time, and then until exit the function. So this is the developing activity diagram for scenario-based modeling. Third is a swim lane diagram. So what is the swim lane diagram? Divide the activity diagram into analysis class. Okay, so this is the swim lane diagram. So we analyze based on three main parts: homeowner, camera, and interface. So this is the flowchart for each part. Okay, so for homeowner, camera, and also interface. Class activity, do the requirement analysis for your respective project title using the scenario-based model by developing the use case scenario, activity diagram, and also the swim lane diagram for the project requirement. So the last one, the next is a behavioral model, and the last one is class model. So I stop this video here, and the rest you can get the notes and try to read by yourself. Also refer to the reference book. If you don't understand, please get back to me through the WhatsApp. Okay, until then, see you again in next next. See you again in next video. Thank you.